let's look at problem 4.8. So it's about this grain silo, and they draw a picture, and there's even a dog, and grain silo, it's got a height of h. You don't need to know any of that. It's like, I think they're trying to be funny, you know, and draw all this stuff that you absolutely don't need to know. It doesn't matter how high it is. Basically, you're standing over here, and you want to see how much of the circle of the grain silo is blocking your view. So this is all just for fun to confuse you. I don't know if they succeed in confusing you. Well, good for them. Okay, let's go down to what we actually need to know. This is the picture we need to know. So you're on the ground. You're standing 12 feet away from this origin here. So I'm going to put the origin there. They say the radius is 8 feet. So this distance here is 8 feet. So like this point there is 8, 0. Right? The radius is 8 feet. And then of course to make sure everything's in feet and everything, and I'm pretty sure it is. Like this is 12 feet. And, okay, what we want to do is find the y-intercept. We want to find this point, right? So the blind spot, like because there's a circle there, you can't see anything where it's shaded, right? So that's what we want to find, which, you know, that's kind of a cool problem. So what is that spot if the radius is 8 feet and we're standing 12 feet away? Okay, so if we can find the equation for the line, then we can find the y-intercept. If we can write it in y equals mx plus b, this is the b, right? So all we gotta do is find the equation for this line. And we know one point. We're halfway there. They tell us a point. How easy is that? So now we either need another point or a slope. Okay, if we can find the slope, we're good. Or if we can find another point, we're good. Or both of those, then we're really good. Okay, so, and they kind of give you some ideas here. Now, we don't know this point. That's what we're looking for. So the only other point that's kind of interesting is where it just touches the circle, right? The tangent to the circle. That's where you just touch it where you can't see. So they suggested we call this point A. So let's call it, I don't know, A comma B, just to give it a letter. So X coordinate is A, the Y coordinate's B there. We could call it X comma Y too, but let's call it A comma B. So how do we find that point? Okay, so first off, there are two ways to find the slope. And if we can set the slope, write the slope two different ways, set those two equations equal to each other, then we can solve and we can actually find what we're looking for. So I'll show you how that works. First off, one way to find the slope is we just go, okay, b minus 0 divided by a minus 12, right? So I am going to draw this picture here and turn this off. Oh, that's squeaky. So here's our circle. And this one, if we know that one, we know this one, doesn't really matter. So this is 12, comma 0. Okay, I think that's, should I draw the axis too? Draw these axes there. Okay, so let's turn this off and see what we got. Yeah, that's not, whoa, why did that come up? What did I hit? Okay, so this point there is 12, comma 0. Okay, so one way to do the slope is the standard way. The slope of this line, let's call the slope, I'll call it the blue slope, M. Okay, so M is, doesn't matter which one you start with, right? Let's say b minus 0. So b minus 0 divided by a minus 12. Which of course is just b over a minus 12. Okay, that's one formula for the slope, that's the easy one. But we don't know a or b. Okay, so we want to know a or b. So another way to do this slope is to notice, and this is a trick that we're going to use a lot, is using perpendicular lines. So if we draw a line from the center, and that's supposed to be a straight line, if we draw a line from the center to that point, right to the tangency, then this is perpendicular. Okay, the perpendicular to the, this is a tangent line, hits in one place, which means that from the center of the circle to there is a perpendicular line. Makes sense. Okay, so what is the slope of this line? If we can figure out the slope, this black slope, then we know the slope of the blue one because it's inverse, and how's that work? It's -1 over it, right? You flip it upside down and make it negative. You guys like my red shirt? My wife thought it was a little bright this morning, but I think it's good. I like wearing bright shirts on Friday. So yeah, it is a little bright. Yeah, that's okay. So we need to figure out this line, but that is also pretty easy, and I wrote the M in the wrong place because I'm going to drop a line through there. Should have written it on top, but fortunately I have an eraser. So we can do this. We can draw a triangle like this, right? And this coordinate here is A, and this is B, right? Because this point is AB, so the y value is B, the height is B, this is A. So the slope is just B over A. So the black line slope is just B over A. Y, the y value divided by the x, right? Rise over run, and by definition, that's the point AB. Well, that's pretty cool. Therefore, the blue line is -1 over that, right? The blue is -1 over, I'm very clever with these colors here, -1 over M, which is A over B. So now we have two ways to find the slope, which is pretty cool. We have that the slope is A over B. We also have that it's B over A minus 12. Okay, so let's set those two things equal. So we have B, I'll just do it right here. So the slope is this, it's also equal to this, and I forgot the negative. -1 over M, negative, flip upside down, negative. So negative A over B. Okay, that is one equation. We have one equation with A and B's, but we don't know A or B. We need two equations. But the good thing is we have a circle, and we're all experts on circles now, so we can use the circle equation because A and B, that point AB is on the circle, so it has to satisfy the circle. The radius is 8, so our other equation is x squared plus y squared equals 8 squared. And that's A. So A squared plus B squared, right? So we could have called it X and Y, but it's kind of nice to call something different, something more particular to that point. A and B is that particular point. X and Y is more general. Okay, so A squared and B squared is on the circle. Point A, B is in the circle, so it has to satisfy that. Now, we have two equations and two things we don't know. We don't know A or B, but we have equations for A, B. So now it's algebra time. Now, we'd solve for either A or B up here, whichever's easiest, and plug it into here, and solve for the one that we have, and then we know the other one, and then we're good. And they say that we want A. I think they want the X coordinate. Well, no, we want to find that line there. If we know one, we know the other. So yeah, we have to have that point to find the line, and then we can write it like that. So, okay, so let's find A or B. I'm going to erase this stuff here, how we found the slope. Hopefully I have all that down. So again, the trick here is, and this is going to happen a lot, whenever you have a tangent line to a circle like this, first we have the circle equation, and then we have to get another equation by writing the slope two different ways. We call the point something like AB, and then we just use a simple slope formula, B minus 0 divided by A minus 12, this one. And then we know the perpendicular line. It's a circle. We always put the center at the origin. You don't have to, but it's easiest. Then we know the perpendicular line is B over A. Just take the point is B over A, and that's negative, which means the blue line is negative A over B. And now where we get our two equations, a very common thing. Now, again, algebra time. So let's see. I was going to erase this stuff and start with the algebra. So clearly, I'm just going to write, this is 64. Okay, so I'm going to solve for, B, I think, up here. So I'm going to cross multiply up here. So B times B is B squared, which is nice because we have a B squared, right? So I'll just leave it like that. So B times B is B squared. So I'll get okay, I'll do it here. So we get a B squared equals negative a times a minus 12. That's negative a squared. Right, negative a times a is negative a squared. Negative a times negative 12 is plus 12a. So plus 12a. Make sure I did that right. B times b is b squared. Negative a squared. Okay, I think I did that right. Now we can plug that into our circle equation. So, a squared plus b squared, which is this, plus negative a squared plus 12a is equal to 64. Wow, this is really nice. This is actually unbelievably nice. We have an a squared and a negative a squared. They're going to cancel. Gosh, did I do this right? That's like too easy. Oh well, I'll take it. So, negative a squared, negative minus a squared is 0. We have 12a equals 64. Wow. A is equal to 64 divided by 12. Oh, that would be nice if that was pretty. Let's see, 5 is 60. 5 and 4/12, which is 1/3. So 5.333333 forever. That's kind of unfortunate. 5.33, 5 and 1/3. Keep a lot of decimal places. Okay, that's what A is. Looks like A is 5 1/3. Now B, we can use this equation. Then we got to square things. And there's no better way to do it. So we could use this one. Then we know how the 12a. Okay, let's use this to find B. So B squared is 64 minus a squared. So B is the square root of 64 minus a squared is 5.333 squared. Yep, that's right. B squared is 64 minus a squared. Okay, so what is that? So now it's calculator time. Keep lots of decimal places. And 5.3333333 plus 64 square root. I get 5.963. So mark that down. So B is 5.963. Okay, now we know that point. Now we know both points here. We figured out this point is 5.333 and 5.963. Wow, they're pretty close to the same thing. Looks like the y value is a little bit taller. Again, I don't know if this picture is to scale. It's really not to scale, right? Because this is 8. 4 more to get 12 should be about half that distance. It should be right about here, a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. You know, always look and make sure that your numbers look like they could make sense. These aren't quite what I'd expected, but it could be, right? Okay, so now we need to find this point. So we have to draw the equation for the line. So, but we know a point, and we know this. We can figure out the slope now. So the slope, let's do this one minus this one, since this one's 0. 5.963. So the slope is 5.963 minus 0. 5.963 minus 0 divided by 5.333 minus 12. 5.333 minus 12. It's going to be negative, which it should be. It's going downhill, so that looks good. So I get 5.333. What's that? Times 5.963. I get negative 0.89. Oh, it doesn't get small fast. Negative 0.89445. Negative 0.89445. That's a lot of decimal places, but whatever. Okay, that's the slope. We have a point. So finally, we go y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Always use the easy point, 12, 0. This is our y1. This is our x1. So y minus 12 equals that variable number, negative 0.89445 times x minus, see, I always do that. Don't get your x's and y's mixed up. y is 0. So y minus 0. It's always good actually to do this, right? x1 comma y1. So you don't get those mixed up. y1 0, y minus 0 is equal to this x minus 12. The x value is 12. Okay, this is easy. So y is equal to, now I just got to go that number times 12, and that's our b. So that number times 12 is 10.7333, 10.73 I'll say. So y is equal to negative 0.89445x. Negative times negative is plus 10 point, what did I say that was again? 10.733. 10.733. Okay. So this is the y-intercept, which is the point we want. We want that point where it hits the y-axis when x is 0, y is equal to this, right? When x is 0, y is equal to that. So our answer is 10.733. That's as far as we can see in the y-axis there, because the circle, the grain silo, doesn't matter if it's a grain silo, it's just a circle. The circle blocks us from seeing that. Cool. Okay. Again, the trick to this problem is first, we know the equation for a circle, x squared, a squared. Oh, call this point something, and again, you could have called it x small. But it's nice to call something different. Call it ab, a squared plus b squared equals 8 squared. And then find the slope two different ways. Once you have ab, the slope is b minus 0 over a minus 12, and the slope is also the negative inverse of the slope from the center of the circle to the tangent point. And that one's easy to figure out because it's just b over a. If you gain that point, b is the y, a is that, so y over a. Okay, cool. Thanks for listening once again.